Back to Alexandra, the person at the centre of so much of what's happened over the last few days. Vusimuzi Matala has just been postponed. He's accused of attempted murder in the dock along with his wife and two others. That proceeding just finishing now. Newzroom Afrika's Mnisi joins us live from there. Linda, good morning to you. What's the latest? What do these charges stem from?
Well, Stephen, you'd recall that these are attempted murder charges stemming from an alleged plot to murder Vusimuzi Matlala's ex-girlfriend and socialite Deboho Tobejane. You'd recall that his wife, Tsakani Matlala, who joined him in the dock earlier on, as you may have seen, is the only person in this matter who is out on bail. The other co-accused are out on warning but remain in custody for another matter. Now, essentially, today's proceedings were quite brief, but a lot are being discussed in terms of what are some of the outstanding issues that need to be dealt with. And that's in relation to the attempts by Vusimuzi Matlala to apply for bail. We're hearing that he had initially attempted to apply for bail, filed an affidavit, and when the state rebutted that evidence using cell phone records, including bank statements, he then decided to abandon bail. And now it looks like there will be a second attempt, but they cannot do that without having sight of the evidence that is being relied upon for him not to be granted bail. And those, again, are the bank statements and the cell phone records. Some of the issues that his lawyers raise are around the fact that they were not furnished with these documents that the state relied on, and they really cannot proceed with this bail application if they don't have these documents. They want to be furnished with Part C and B and C of the docket, but also you'd recall that the docket, those parts in particular, can only be handed over during the preparation for trial. What the state is saying is that in Part A, this is the part that would usually have the statements, right? Part A, there is a consent form that was signed by Vusimuzi Matlala, because the allegation from his lawyers is that they don't know about, having obtained consent to download his phone. And what they're indicating is that in Part A, there is the consent form that was signed by Vusimuzi Matlala himself, which of course gives the police and the investigating team permission to download his phone and do analysis. And therefore, all of these issues are now going to be ironed out, and there's a possibility that he will, of course, come back to this very same court, because at this point, this matter has not been transferred to the High Court. He'll come back here, possibly with the intention to apply for bail. So the matter has been postponed to the 26th of August, and he remains in custody. You would have seen him walking up the stairs from the holding cells of this particular court, chained on the legs and in the hands, which is, quite a different picture from what you would see ordinarily in the media of Vusimuzi Matlala. Some saying that it's, just a move from luxury to chains, which points to a shift in, of course, the power dynamics. Quite a number of moving parts, but of course, some of the interested parties that have been watching this case quite closely.
Look, as MK Party, we're very angry. We believe that this country cannot be sold to criminals, irrespective of how much money they have and how much influence they think they may have. I think we have seen in the past the criminal justice system standing firm to defend the citizens of this country. And in this case, we are calling on them to find that resolve that they've always had, that they should not be afraid to confront, this case as they would any other case. We believe that Mr. Matala has a lot to answer to and to answer for, and we believe that irrespective of who he might be connected with, he must, obviously, justice must be served for the people of South Africa. As MK Party, we have a full understanding of what it feels like to find yourself in a situation where there is injustice that is perpetuated around you or with you. In July, we termed this a month of injustice because we had seen people rising up at a time when there was so much injustice in this country mattered to a lot of people and symbolized by what President Jacob Zuma was going through. So we believe that if there's any other people or persons that can stand up for the vulnerable and the weak in society, it can only be MK Party. And MK Party in Gauteng is really ready to go out there and fight and put pressure on the criminal justice system so that justice is served.
All right, thank you very much. That is Abel Dow from the MK Party. Stephen, I know I indicated earlier on that he is from Action SA, but yeah, he is from the MK Party, talking, of course, about their stance on this matter. But obviously, Stephen, there's quite a number of moving parts because the interesting element about this issue around the cell phones is that if you go back to Mkonazi's explosive allegations, they talk about how the analysis of the cell phone after Vusimuzi's arrest, after Vusimuzi Matlala's arrest, brought light to some of the alleged links between the minister as well as Brown Mokhoti, who is alleged to be an associate, but of course there has been a back and forth about whether or not the minister knows Brown Mokhoti, or he's deemed to be an associate to him. So quite a number of moving parts, and what they want now is to get a sense of those analysis. That's his lawyer saying, we don't have those cell phone records and we would like to get a sense of them before applying for bail, because a situation that they're trying to avoid is going ahead with bail, putting in an application, filing an affidavit, and then be rebutted with evidence that the police have been able to pick up at this particular point. So quite a lot that still needs to be dealt with, but we understand that they'll be returning to this very same stand on the 26th of August. Stephen?